Thanks for watching. My name's Chris Summer. I'm a contemporary artist painting realistic acrylic paintings of still life natural objects. And in this video I'm going to show you just how I paint the bump on this urchin. So I've done all the kind of surrounding area, so it's just this bump to finish this little section. And as you can see at the start of the video, this is about the fourth layer of paint. The other layers are just underlayers, and I mix a bit of a glazing medium or a slow drying medium with my acrylic paint, and that helps me have a bit longer time to work with the paint. But what it also does is it helps the paint dry a bit transparent, so as I'm building up the layers I'm increasing the complexity of the tones underneath, because I'm always overlapping the different tones. So this is about the fourth layer. And because this urchin has such a gritty, sandy texture, as I'm painting this final layer, before I do the detail, getting the shadow and the highlights correct, I'm sort of using this old frayed brush and bouncing it around quite a bit so that it creates this natural variance between the light and the dark, and that's going to make it a lot easier when I do the detail over the top, that it already has that sort of rough kind of texture. So I have my tones pre-mixed, and I have 10 tones in total. That includes absolute black and absolute white, a couple of mid-tones, and then 3 tones in between those. And because this is a sort of the shadowy area, I'm using the holes that you can see there, some of those are the absolute black. Other than that, they're probably about tone 8 and down, but mostly the shadows are the dark mid-tone and the one after that, the dark one after that. And these highlights aren't very bright at all. This is sort of my 3rd tone, so just an off white, and then when I do the highlights I'll use the 2nd tone just to catch some parts of light. And so for this final layer I will be using a 000 brush, and more importantly is it's a newer brush, so it's a lot sharper and finer. It's certainly not the smallest brush I use, but as I mentioned, this is sort of the shady area and not quite in the full focus range, so I don't want to use a really sharp brush. And basically what I'm going to do here, so I've got these sort of 4 or 5 layers of paint which are quite complex in tone because they've been layered on top of each other. And really what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pick up, if I'm working in the shaded area of this bump, and let's say I'm using tone 7 for that, then I'm going to pick up tone 8 to do some dark details, and I'm going to pick up tone 7 to do some highlight details. And I'm going to move through the shell at this bump, and for whichever tone there is, whether it's tone 5 in the transition between the shadow and the highlight, then I'll pick up tone 4 and tone 6 and just create some texture in there. And one of the things that happens is a little bit like craters on the moon. When you look at the moon, it's the part between where the light fades into the shadow that you get the real highlights and shadows on the crater. So in this section between where the light and shadow is, that's where I put some highlights that dance into the shadow. And as we move into the lighter section here, going to pick up some real highlights just for it to feel like some light is falling on it. A bit of a shine on the top of the bump, which seems to have a smoother surface, and this little bump is done. Thanks heaps for watching, and if you enjoy my content, head over to my website, subscribe to my email, and look forward to seeing you soon.